Today on All Things 80s, it's the 1984 Smash Hits Readers Poll. Welcome back to All Things 80s. Now, Smash Hits was a bi-weekly publication in the UK that basically focused on pop music. And at the end of the year, they would do a vote where the readers would fill out the voting card to determine the best band, best single, etc. And for the last edition of the year, those results would be published in the Smash Hits Readers Poll. So this is the one from 1984. So we're going to take a look to see who were the most popular bands, who had the best video, best TV show, etc. And it should be a nice sort of trip down memory lane just to see what was riding high in the hit parade back in 1984. Okay, so Smash Hits Readers Poll 1984. So the cover here we have John Taylor of Duran Duran. This is the best looking bloke in the world. Okay, whatever. And this is actually Julian Lennon, the son of John. So anyway, we'll get straight to the readers poll section. So where does this start? Let's see. Okay, so this is the 5th annual Smash Hits Readers Poll. So first up, best group 1984 was of course Duran Duran. Can't really argue with that. That was them at their peak. Number 2 was Wham. Fair enough. 3, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And 4, Culture Club. Number 5, Spandau Ballet. 6, U2. 7, Depeche Mode. So on and so forth. Anything else interesting? Queen, number 10. Iron Maiden, number 18. So really, looking at it at the time, I guess this pretty much does make sense from a pop music standpoint. Obviously, I would have Iron Maiden a lot higher, but given that it was primarily a pop magazine, interestingly enough, if this was to be done with the same bands in 2020, you can bet that U2 and Depeche Mode and Queen would be a hell of a lot higher than they are back in '84. But yeah, I can't really argue with that. Duran Duran does make sense to be number 1 there. Also see The Cure. Where were The Cure? Number 16. So I guess they would be a lot higher if the vote was done today. Now the best video of 1984, that went to The Wild Boys by Duran Duran. And surprisingly, number 2 was Thriller, which I think really is a bit of an injustice because anyone can agree that the Thriller video was one of the greatest music videos of all time. So that was not right to have that at number 2. Number 3, The Reflex by Duran Duran. Yeah, that was a great video as well, actually. That was the song that got me into Duran Duran. Two Tribes by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I think, now don't quote me on this, but I think that video was banned by the BBC. Now, Relax by Frankie, well, that 100% was banned. I've since seen the video for this, and by today's standards, I wouldn't say it was tame, but back then it was absolutely shocking. So I don't really understand how that could have been voted for, given that I don't think anyone really saw it, because I don't think we had MTV in the UK back then. I could be wrong, of course. What else we got? Ultravox, David Bowie, U2, Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr. Well, of course that was a great video. It had scenes from Ghostbusters. Yeah, so that's Duran Duran won 2 in a row there. Now, best TV show went to The Young Ones. Now, when I was buying this magazine, I guess I was 10 years old when this edition came out, and I was probably too young to be watching The Young Ones. But we have to assume that some people buying this would have been, 16, 17 years old, so I guess they would have voted for The Young Ones. It's actually a great show, really enjoy that. Good performance on one of the episodes by Motorhead, check that one out. So number 1 was The Young Ones, number 2 Top of the Pops, obviously. Now 3 was the Tube. I It rings a bell, but I don't know what that show was. Was it a music show? Possibly. Now this is interesting. Brookside was a soap opera, and I think it was based in Liverpool. Not necessarily children's viewing, but like I said, there were, you know, teenagers buying this magazine as well. Saturday Superstore, that was Noel Edmonds, I believe. That was a good show. Pop Quiz was another great show. Now, Dynasty, that's interesting. I remember seeing Dynasty a lot. That used to be broadcast, I think, the BBC on a Friday night. I only remember that because my grandma would visit us on a Friday and she loved Dynasty. She also loved Dallas. Dallas is number 9. So, of the two, Dynasty and Dallas, which was the better show? I really couldn't tell you. Now, number 8, Coronation Street, another classic British soap opera. I'm surprised to see that one so far down where Brookside is number 4. And I'm assuming that EastEnders hadn't come out at this point. Minder was another show. I remember it being on TV, but not actually watching it. The A Team only at 11. That's poor. Hearsay, never heard of it. Hill Street Blues, remember the name, don't remember the show. Knight Rider, only 18. That's terrible. And Airwolf at 20. So of this listing, I would have had Airwolf, Knight Rider, and the A Team much, much higher up. But anyway, so this is just some nonsense. This is the best male singer. Surprise, surprise, Simon Le Bon. Technically not that great a singer, but I guess he was the most popular. Number 2 was George Michael, fair enough, good singer. Paul Young was good. Howard Jones, Nick Kershaw, Boy George. Michael Jackson only at 7. And David Bowie at number 8. What the hell? Bono Vox. I'm assuming they mean Bono from U2, but I've never heard him called Bono Vox, but I'm not really a U2 fan, so I can't really comment there. Anything else interesting? Dave Gahan, Depeche Mode, quite low down there. Lamal from Kajagoogoo. Yeah, I think to be honest, the way people voted was it was more voting for their favourite band, regardless of talent, because I certainly would not put Simon Le Bon at number 1. So, nice Duran Duran poster. I had that as a child on my wall. Now we've got the best female singer, Alison Moyet. Now, I think she was in the band with the boy from Depeche Mode who went on to do Bronski Beat, Vince Clarke. Now that was Yazoo, I think, but she's actually a damn good singer. Tracy Ullman, I seem to remember her as being more of an actress than a singer, but anyway, Sade was a nice singer. Hazel Dean, remember the name, that's her there. Couldn't name a song of hers. Helen Terry, no idea who that is. But Annie Lennox, of course, from Eurythmics. Cyndi Lauper, Kim Wilde. Madonna, only at number 12. So, I'm assuming this was before she really hit the big time. Tina Turner, number 19. Sandy Shaw is tied in 20th with My Mum. Okay, whatever. What's this? Prat of the year, Boy George. I don't know. I guess I didn't really find him to be that offensive, to be honest. George Michael at number 2. Black Lace number 3. Now, Black Lace, they were, was it Agadoo Push Pineapple or something? Yeah, I got to look that up. I remember they had some terrible sort of gimmick songs. Was it Agadoo Doo Doo? Something like that. Simon Le Bon, number 4. Interesting that Duran Duran have been sort of heavily voted for in the good categories, but as high as number 4 for being a prat, whatever. Neil, yeah, I was going to say that's from the young ones. Arthur Scargill. don't remember. I knew nothing about politics back then, but he was something to do with the miners' strike. Uh, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Da, 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 da. Ozzy Osbourne, number 17. That's interesting. And Ronald Reagan, number 19. Huh, interesting. Interesting that they would have a category that clearly is quite political, because there's Margaret Thatcher. As I said, when I was reading this magazine, I couldn't tell you the first things about politics. So, most fanciable male, John Taylor from Duran Duran. George Michael, if only those girls knew back then what we know now. I wonder if it would be voting the same way. Now, Boy George, a fanciable male, that's extremely intriguing to say the least. Again, Nick Rhodes, very effeminate looking. Let me see anything else. Midure, wow. He was definitely losing his hair back then, and he had that sort of little gimpy moustache. Harrison Ford, interesting. Richard Gere, that's quite funny. Now for the female, Kim Wilde. Um, I, I never actually fancied her. I actually fancied one of the girls from Bananarama. I don't know what her name is, but I see Bananarama here. I'm trying to remember. Sarah? I don't know. It was the one with the blonde hair that I always fancied. Again, Tracy Ullman. She's like, there's nothing really fanciable about that. Jay Aston from Bucks Fizz. I only remember the one that was on Record Breakers, Cheryl somebody. Can't remember her last name. Leslie Ash, don't know who that is. Victoria Principal, Pam Ewing in Dallas. Bo Derek, Cyndi Lauper, Olivia Newton-John, Heather Locklear, yeah, I'd have her much higher. Susan Sully from the Human League. I don't know if she was the brunette or the blonde. Well, there's the other one, so they're switchable. Samantha Fox. Nope, Samantha Fox should be number one. She was fanciable for many reasons. Most notably, an excellent chest. Best radio show. Mike Reed, Steve Wright. I would have said the Top 40 show should have been number one. Gary Davis still does an 80s radio show, so that's nice. John Peel. He had some great bands on his show. Okay, nothing of interest there. And is that it? Oh, no. Most promising new act. So we got Julian Lennon, the son of John. I don't think he really made it big after '84. I couldn't name one of his songs, and he might still be active, I don't know, but he never really took off, despite having such a famous father. Bronski Beat, yep, they were good. A little bit on the side, but that's all right. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, yeah, they did break pretty big in '85. Alphaville, don't know who that is. Prince. Now in '84, when did he sort of come out? I thought it was before '84. Who knows? Nothing else there. ZZ Top. Now they were definitely doing their thing in the '70s. So for them to be a promising new act in in '84, sorry, that's a bit of a joke. Chaka Khan. Okay. Now, best single, of course, Wild Boys by Duran Duran. Careless Whisper by George Michael. Yeah, that's actually a really good song. Two Tribes by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Also is a really good song. Freedom by Wham. Fair enough. Relax by Frankie. Again, popular, but for all the wrong reasons. And I think it was an okay song. We used to sort of get a real laugh at some of the lines in that song. Obviously, I was too young to understand the meaning of when you want to come and all that, but we always got a good chuckle at Suck to It, or whatever the words were. The War Song by Culture Club. Is it the one like war is stupid and people are stupid? Pride, I love that song from U2. Oh, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Yeah, that was a good song. And anything else of interest? Uh, People Are People by Depeche Mode. That's another good song. But the best album, of course, again goes to Duran Duran. This was the album that got me into Duran Duran via the single The Reflex. I played this cassette continuously in 1984. Parade, my mum had this album, and I always, because she liked them, I thought they must be like an old person's band. But looking back now, actually, Spandau Ballet were really good. Uh, who's that? Nick Kershaw. I was never really into him. And Howard Jones. I always got those two mixed up. There's Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Number 8 was Purple Rain by Prince. Interesting. And of course, Duran Duran again in the top 10 for the Arena album, which was a real disappointment if I'm being honest. And then Event of the Year. Roger Taylor's of Duran Duran's Wedding. Good Lord. That really is an event of the year. Oh, and there's Nick Rhodes. Now that's what I'm talking about when I said he was voted as being one of the most fanciable men. I'm not really sure what girls were fancying that, but to each their own. Number 3 was Andrew Ridgeley's Nose Job. Good Lord. Number 2 was the banning of Relax by the BBC. Was that an event? I guess. Nothing really there. Oh, the birth of Prince Henry. Now, am I right in saying that he's now known as Harry? Yeah, that must be the same one, right? And I never, of course, I remembered him being Prince Henry, but why did he take the name Harry? Anyway, there's Andrew Ridgeley's Nose Job before and after. I don't really see much difference there, but whatever. The Zola Budd Mary Decker incident. It rings a bell, but I don't exactly know what happened. But obviously someone fell over during the race. Oh, number 12, an event of the year. Boy George bleaching his hair. Wow. And, okay, number 11 was the miners' strike. Well, that was a pretty significant event of the year, certainly of more importance than Roger Taylor getting married, but anyway, that's how the people voted. And that is it. Oh dear, Gary Glitter. Another rock and roll Christmas. That's quite interesting that last couple of videos I've done, I've had to mention Gary Glitter and Jimmy Savile. Now then, now then, now then. Terrible, terrible. And there's a nice shot of Wham. So that was the 1984 Smash Hits Readers Poll. So I hope you enjoyed that look back in time there, seeing what was really popular back in '84. And do you agree with some of the results? Let me know down below. So as always, I want to say a big thank you to the Patreons. So much appreciation from me to you for doing that. And if you did like the video, I ask you to kindly like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and stay tuned for more videos from All Things 80s.